Hello. There you go. Hey folks, I'm Vaidya from the Microsoft Foundry team, and I've got Jeff.
Hi everyone.
And Osi PM
Hey, how's
from
it going?
Foundry as well. So the topic for today is open source ecosystem, right? How you take your open source models and productionize it using Foundry. And you've been hearing all these sessions on Foundry being the agent platform and stuff, so we'll cover that. And we're going to look at three aspects of this. First, I'll give an intro on what we are doing from platform standpoint in terms of improvements to make the consumption better. And then Jeff will talk about the partnership, how we are getting the latest models into the ecosystem. And then finally, Osi will do all the code demos and stuff. So we've got some tight agenda for 20 minutes. All right. So now, talking about platform, how many of you have been to these sessions for Foundry that Ina and Tina presented yesterday? OK. So Foundry is basically an agent hosting platform, right, with access to a bunch of models, both proprietary frontier model as well as open source models. We've got more than 10,000 models from Hugging Face, right? So if you look at the proprietary models, the way you access the model is multiple form factors. You've got the pay-per token, which is easy access, pay-as-you-go kind of setup, or if you want more like production-like environment with control on latency and stuff, you go for PTUs. But what we're introducing today, as of now, is for open source and custom models. We have this construct called Foundry Managed Compute, which is, think of it as a managed platform as a service, where you just pick the GPUs, you don't have to worry about the infrastructure, and it works out of the box. So it's part of the Foundry resource. So the endpoint is the same. It's the same SDK. It's the same authentication, billing construct, and everything. Now, the beauty of this is when you deploy a model, there are other aspects of the model, right? You got to pick the GPU topology. You got to pick the runtimes. You got all this VLLMs, SGLang, and everything. And all the maintenance and patchwork will be taken care by Foundry. You just pick the model parameters and then boom, deploy. Right? Now, if you look at it, one of the key enablers for this, it's not just sufficient to just have the compute, but we need to get the open source funnel in, right? And that's where our partnership with Hugging Face comes in. Because I don't know if we get a lot of models on Hugging Face that get pushed out, like whether from Qwen or Minimax, and I see a bunch of NVIDIA partners there. Hey, Stephen. Like Nemotron models we just got out as well. So to catch up with all these models in real time is super tough, and which is where I think Jeff is going to talk about how we're going to give you day zero access to these models that you can now deploy using the managed compute. So over to you, Jeff.
Thank you so much, Vaidya. Thank you, and we're very grateful for our partnership with Microsoft. We've been working together with Vaidya and team on making Hugging Face models easy to use for Azure customers. And yesterday, if you saw the keynotes, Satya showed there are 11,000 models that are available today in Microsoft Foundry. Little known fact, over 10,000 of those come from Hugging Face. We've been working together for a long time. And the first question that I want to talk about is why is it important for Microsoft and Azure customers to be able to work with open models? And I have 5 things for you. The first one is that basically in terms of performance, open models are on par with the frontier. The frontier open models are on par with the frontier closed models. It's been the case for over a year. If you look at the top 20 models in the Artificial Analysis Intelligence Index, half of them are open models. But that's just the baseline performance. If we go to the next one, the second thing is that the base open models are models that you can build upon, customize, and adapt in order to improve them specifically for your use case. You can fine-tune them, you can post-train them, you can distill them. This is an example of Phi2, a popular open model published by Microsoft. And you can see that there are about 1,500 derivatives of these base models. And that's why there are so many models on Hugging Face, because the way that enterprises uses them is that they customize them to their data and their use case to make them much more performant. The third reason why you should consider open models is that if you're not hosting the weights, then you don't really control the experience. And we're working together with Microsoft to make it super easy for you to do that on Azure. Right from the model page on Hugging Face, you have two options. You can either deploy it on your own Azure account, your own tenant at Microsoft using Microsoft Foundry. We're going to show you how it works. And then you can also use Hugging Face inference endpoints to deploy them on Azure using the Hugging Face tenant. The fourth reason enterprises should consider open models is that the whole open source community is really focused on making them cheaper to run. And I have 4 random blog posts about how you can make Stable Diffusion cheaper to run. If you're looking at a specific task, there are small models that are state-of-the-art. Docklink Granite from IBM is an example. It's 250 million, not billion parameters, and it's state-of-the-art if you want to run like batch inference on documents. And then the last one is that with open models, because you host them, you can also version control them. And I've talked to many people, developers, who told me that overnight, like the model behind the API, the closed model API changed, and all of a sudden, like the way that the model behaves, the way that the feature acts for the customer changes. And with open models, you can control exactly which version. In fact, on Hugging Face, every model repository is fully version controlled, and you can tag to a specific version ID in code. So these are 5 reasons why you should consider open models when you build AI application. The performance, the baseline performance is on par, but then you can improve it by customizing the model to your data. You host the weights, you own the experience, you can control your costs, and you can control the actual experience using version control. All right. So now, let me give you a quick update about Hugging Face. I assume that most of you are familiar with it. So the latest is that we now have a community of over 15 million, actually 16 million AI builders who signed up for an account on Hugging Face in order to work with open models. When they need to work privately, they set up organizations. There are over 400,000 organizations set up on Hugging Face. The bottom one is Microsoft. When companies need to have access control security, they sign up to Enterprise as Microsoft does. And then from all these community, from all these organizations come over 3 million open and public models today on Hugging Face. And these cover like every task you can imagine. In order to use these 3 million public models, there are over 1 million public data sets. You can use our open source. You're probably familiar with the Transformers library. We have a whole ecosystem for you to do inference, to do post-training, to do reinforcement learning, etc. So we have the open source, we have the models, but if you want to build an app and scale it to production, there are a lot more challenges that you need to solve. And that's where the partnership with Microsoft and what we're building into Microsoft Foundry really comes into play. So let me give you a few tidbits about how we're working together. The first one, well, we actually monitor daily the trending, most liked, downloaded models for all the most important tasks, for all the most important model providers like NVIDIA, to make sure that when these models land on Hugging Face, within the same day, they become available in Microsoft Foundry. That's how we got to 11,000 models together. These models cover all the different machine learning tasks. Of course, we talk a lot about LLMs, but there are so many more use cases: document processing, speech recognition, image detection, and all those tasks. We cover them all. You can select them with easy-to-use filters directly in Microsoft Foundry. And then, as I say, like, the model and the open source only take you so far. If you want to build something with scaled usage, then you need to think about how do I optimize the runtime? How do I use a configuration that will give me either the best throughput or the smallest latency? We work it all out for you so that it's basically a one-click experience. We'll show you how with Osi. And then last, or almost last, how do we work together to enable those models? We talked about 11,000 models. We talked about 3 million models on Hugging Face. What is the difference? Well, there's a whole pipeline that happens in collaboration with the Microsoft team before these models are available to you in Microsoft Foundry. I talked about the curation that we do together, but then we screen for enterprise-ready usage. We look at the license. We will only give you models that are commercially permissible. We looked to make sure that there is no remote code as part of the model that would be injected and executed by the runtime, and we filter those out. So we go through all these security checks, security scanning of models to make sure that whatever lands in Microsoft Foundry is enterprise ready. The weights now with Managed Compute are also uploaded to Microsoft Foundry. This way you have complete robustness and supply chain security for your models. And last, and I think that may be the most important thing, we validate the actual deployment experience, including like which runtime you're going to use, what configuration parameters for the deployment are going to be used, what context window you're going to be enabling for that model. Oh, and maybe one more thing, like we also want to make sure that every deployment of a Hugging Face model, if you pick it from the collection in Microsoft Foundry, once it's deployed, it's not going to make network calls outside of your own secure tenant. So that's also a very important guarantee for enterprises. I mentioned runtimes, I mentioned all these different tasks. Depending on the model, there may be like a most optimized runtime. Some model providers will really focus on VLLM for their LLMs. Some model providers will really focus on SGLang for the optimized deployment of their LLM. Some models are not LLMs. Some models are embedding models that you need in order to build like RAG pipelines. So we have text embeddings inference that is optimized for that. Some models are quantized in order to run better on CPU and super efficiently using the Llama CPP C++ runtime, and so we have containers and deployment templates for that, etc. For NVIDIA models, you can find them with NIMs, and that's all powered by Tensor RTLLM. And for like other types of tasks, like speech and vision tasks, we have HFServe, which is a new framework SDK to optimize deployment of these machine learning multimodal tasks. So there we are. Very excited to show this to you, and Osi, over to you to show us how it all works.
Sounds good. Can you guys hear me well? Okay, perfect. So yeah, my name is Osi Otugo. Hello, hope everyone is doing well. Let's get started with a demo. So curious, how many people use Foundry already? Quite a bit. Okay, what about open models? Okay, that's good. So yeah, this will be a treat for you guys. And for those who do not fit in any of those buckets, you'll still be impressed. So yeah, this is Microsoft Foundry. As you can see, we're going to go into the Discover. If it works.
So in Discover is where we'll find like all the model catalogs, right? And there are like different collections available. Oh, that's probably connectivity.
Oh,
it's the demo effect. It's got to happen.
Always happens, yep.
That's why we're on the demo Wi-Fi, so we have the demo effect.
Exactly.
So in the Discover tab, you find all the different model collections. On the left sidebar, you will see like the models page. And here you can filter by different provider. And to find specifically the Hugging Face models, you can filter to the Hugging Face collection. Also, within the filters, you're able to select the machine learning task that you might want to use. So we talked about like embeddings models and vision and speech models. So that's an easy way to get to the kind of model that you want to use. All right, maybe we're back. There we go.
Gotta do a hotspot. So yeah.
There we go.
Thank you. It's loading. But yeah, as Jeff said, Discover is where you see all our latest and greatest models. So alongside models from Microsoft AI, Anthropic, OpenAI, we have over 11,000 open models. So we are going to go to the models page, the models catalog page. It is loading. And then as you scroll down, loading, okay. You scroll down to deployment options, you click on Managed Compute. That is the starter show, so that's what we're going to focus on. So as you can see here, we have all these models. And as Jeff pointed out, these models are hosted on Azure. So we're not pulling it from a Hugging Face Hub. It's directly from Azure, so there's no worries about that there. So we're actually going to use a Qwen model. So we're going to search for Qwen 3, Qwen 32. And select the Qwen 3 32 billion parameter model. So this is the deployment page. Then after, as it loads up, there's going to be a deployment button that you simply click on, and it takes you to the deployment page. So I'm just going to hit acknowledgements. Of course, you have to acknowledge things here. So yeah, so there's this thing called deployment templates. So as you can see here, there are multiple deployment templates. We have 4. So there's a base one of just H100s, A100s. That's it. But as you can see above, we also have configurations for 2 H100s and 2 A100s. There's nothing else you have to do. Everything's already pre-configured and customized for these deployments. So I'm just going to click on the 2 H100s, for example.
By the way, when you're selecting like a H100 deployment template, then we can take advantage of like the latest Blackwell data type. So if there's like an NVFP4 variant, as there is for like the latest 𝗦𝗲𝘀 models, then we'll take advantage of that. And if you want to prioritize like more context window for like agentic use cases, or if you want to prioritize latency, right, we have these deployment templates that give you these easy to use options.
Exactly. And on that note, as you can see here, so for the 2 H100s, we have the max context length of 131,000 tokens. So, and also when you click on accelerators, again, we're trying to simplify the infrastructure. So all you have to do is just simply click on the H100 and that's it, nothing else. You don't have to worry about the lower level infrastructure details.
And that's the magic of managed compute, right? It's the new thing that was announced yesterday within Microsoft Foundry. Like, you don't have to go and fetch, like in the console, do I have the quota for the right accelerator type? Like, it's really simple. We have A100s, we have H100s, we have AMD Instinct GPUs coming, and it's just like this little drop down.
Exactly. And I'm going to call this out again. So as a single H100, as you can see, there's 41,000 tokens. So we try to optimize for your configurations out of the box. So I'm going to go to a pre-configured or pre-deployed model here. So we go to Build, Models, and we have a special tab just for Managed Compute. As you can see here, Managed Compute Deployments. Simple as that. So you click on it. It'll take a second to load. There we go.
Oh, very cool.
And I'm going to select the 𝗦𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 parameter model.
Nice. So once this is deployed, I guess we can interact with it, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So for the first time, and for the first time before a build audience, and also for the first time, you can actually deploy the open models from Foundry. Not only that, you can also have the playground integration. So I can ask a simple question like, "Hello," and after a couple seconds,
that's simple enough.
Respond. Something simple. Hello. How can I help? So not only that, developers do not live in playgrounds, right? We use VS Code and other software applications.
Yeah.
So I'm simply going to go to the call model screen. I'm going to copy this piece of code here. So I'm like zoom out. And I'm going to go to VS Code. This is just pre-configured already. So I'm just going to simply, after it runs, so simply copy and pasting it here. I see what is the capital of France. I'm Nigerian, let's switch to Nigeria. So what is the capital of Nigeria? Saving it, hitting it. Any guesses? Sorry? No. You'll see. So it's not Lagos, in case you guys were guessing that. But it is, Abuja, exactly.
Thank you. Well done.
But yeah, I'm on a hotspot, so it's going to take a little bit longer.
So it's a one-stop shop. So in the same, basically, UI, we're able to search the model, find the model, access the available GPUs, and then have the deployed model and integrate it into code.
Right.
And that's going to come right up. But like, I know that, oh, there we go.
There you go. So good job. I don't know your name,
well
but
done.
Yeah, congratulations.
Well done. But then, like, I see this particular model being very popular by Hugging Face users who want to use it with their agents.
Right.
So can you actually do that in Foundry?
Of course, yeah. So again, for the first time ever, we now have agent integration with these open models. So as we go back to our deployment screen, I'm going to go back to build, going to our models, and I am going to go back to the 𝗦𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 model that we deployed. Oh, sorry about that. There we go. So select, and I'm simply going to add it to an agent. I have to create a resource name, so I'm just going to do build 2026. Why not? So after hitting that, going to agents, and I'm hitting a new agent. So I'm going to select build a new agent, and let's go to thing one. I like Dr. Seuss. It's coming up.
Now the magical thing is that a week ago, in order to do all of this, you would have had to jump through a lot of hoops.
Yeah.
Right? Going from Foundry to Azure Machine Learning, then going to get quota, then trying to guess like where is the right runtime, then trying to guess what are the right deployment parameters, and then like how do I plug that into my agent creation workflow directly in Foundry? And now it's all there.
Exactly. And not only that, so with agents, you also have integration to other tools. So as you can see here, we have an integration with the web search tool. So that means we can, interact with the live web results. Today's the NBA Finals, so let's give that a try. So
Game one.
is playing today.
Who's playing or who's winning? I mean, we're making predictions here.
Right. So it's going to take some time. Again, I'm on my hotspot, so let's give it a shot.
Who is in a hot spot, the Knicks or your computer?
There you go. Wednesday, June 3rd, NBA Finals tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time between the New York Knicks and San Antonio Spurs.
Oh wait, but that's not in the training data.
Right, exactly.
So how did that work?
Yeah, so going back, again, it's the integration with the web search tools. There are other integrations that we provide, but web search, of course, is one of the top training tools that we provide. But of course, again, developers do not live in a playground. So we're going to go to call agent. And after this loads, we're going to just copy over the code into our platform. So here, so I'm just going to run it. So who do you have for the NBA Finals?
Who do I have?
Yeah, who do you think is going to win?
Well, I'm not, it's really an opinion.
Yeah. Right.
I'm rooting for Wemby personally.
Same here.
Yeah,
Love the Spurs.
yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be a moment, but yeah, once it runs, you can see that we can easily call the agent from VS Code. And there you go. So I can help with the wider range of tasks, including 1, 2, 3, and 4. So, but let's also see there is something, let's try agentic RAG. So I have a little demo, a little script here. So I'm simply going to say, what is my favorite country? So just calling it again. I didn't change anything about it. I'm still calling the same endpoint. I'm still using the same agent. Oh, so actually let me...
Now, while these things does this networking thing, one of the magic of using Microsoft Foundry to do all of this work, which you would have to do anyways if you were building your agent like with any other property, is that all the security features, all the enterprise setup that you have with like role-based access controls and identities and permissions, this is all built in. So all the security that Microsoft built into Foundry applies to your usage of open models to build all these experiences.
Exactly. And as you can see, calling the agent, I said my favorite country is Nigeria, and it goes on from there. That's a wonderful choice. Nigeria is vibrant. But not only that, it's also context aware. So real quick, as we are getting a signal, so I'm testing the second one. So again, I'm trying to just showcase the multi-turn functionality that we now have with open models on Foundry. So again, I'm not referencing Nigeria at all. I'm simply saying like, hey, what did I tell you my favorite country was? And there
Beautiful.
You go. You mentioned that your favorite country is Nigeria? Exactly. So last but not least, just gonna try the last one here. I'm simply gonna ask it what is the city I should visit in Nigeria. Run it. And let's see what cities it will suggest. I'm going to Nigeria hopefully in December, so it can give me some good travel advice here.
That's beautiful. I think we've been asked to wrap it up. So Yesterday, Microsoft announced Managed Compute available in Microsoft Foundry. It's the easiest way for you to build with open models. We're bringing all the Hugging Face open models into this new experience. That's how you're able to deploy models with security, with performance, and with GPUs without having to go through all of the hoops. Thank you for the partnership. Excited to keep building and bring more models experiences.
Of course. And real quick, you got homework? So 1, start building with AI Foundry. Number 2, sign up for the preview for Managed Compute. And number 3, first time for Jeff, we actually have a Microsoft feedback portal. So you can actually suggest Hugging Face models to onboard to Foundry. So thank you again for your time. I bid you adieu.
Thank you.